afternoon everybody, and welcome to another vlog. To all my art gurus, creators, inspirators, entrepreneurs and incredible inventors in this beautiful world, thank you all wholeheartedly for tuning in. Now, first and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to the wonderful letters that I received yesterday and today from my last video in launching my new business, NGANI, and the ideas that I'm doing going forward. It is incredibly empowering to receive all your letters. I thank you for your love and for your support. To really, reiterate what I've said before, I really am doing this process, the journey of sharing what I'm doing with you so that I can empower you, and no matter what my outcomes are, be it failure, success, or everything else in between, I really just want to give you guys as much courage and empowerment to live the most successful, authentic life that you can. So that's my commitment to you guys. But in the meantime, like I said, I really do thank you all for sending me all those lovely letters of support. Really appreciated. Now, in today's vlog, pardon the hat by the way, because it is incredibly bad hair day and it's super cold, so I've got my scarf on, my jumper in. Come what may, I thought, no, I'm doing this video today. So in today's video, what I want to talk to you guys about is how I've chosen my business name, the brand, the logo, and the process that I went through in making all those big decisions. Now again, please bear with me. I do have a lot of information that I want to give you guys, so I've written it all down so as to not forget it. Now, in choosing a business name, what I thought about was, of course, the logo, the brand, business name, and the tagline. But I'm not going to spend too much time on what a logo is. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's what people identify with, and you know the big brands that are out there that sing in your mindset. Now, when it comes to a brand is really important, and the reason why I put a lot of thought into this is because brand is all about the voice of what your business sounds like. So that was really important for me. So I needed to think about what that voice was. Of course, I'll talk to you about the business name and how that came about and the importance of tagline. Now, also what I want to consider in this whole aspect of creating and merging my artworks into a business venture is look at who my customer was. Now, this is really important. And when I started looking at who the customer was, it started to reflect a little bit about my own personal journey. And my customer is that person that has thought about the how, the can I do this, how can I achieve this, taking chances, expanding our courage, living an authentic life. Basically, the customer is the everyday you out there that has ever thought about living an authentic life, and then step by step have started doing and living their vision and their dreams. Now, when I started looking at NGANI as a brand, what started becoming really obvious that it almost was merging, it is merging from my own personal journey. The big steps that I was taking and have been taking, the big life decisions, the big changes, the falls, the rises that I've gone through, and how I've dealt with every single stepping stone that I've encountered. So when I started seeing that was kind of merging into this voice of this business, into my brand voice, I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. And why I say that it's cool is because it's something that is part of me, it's within me, and I don't need to sell it, and it's not about selling it. It really is about just talking about the power of this particular brand and the power of what we could all achieve and can achieve with the matter of just allowing our courage to step forward. And so really that's how the brand voice started becoming or coming up to the surface, if you'd like. Okay, so how did I come up with the name of NGANI? How did I choose that business name? Now, to back up a little bit, I actually had 5 other choices, and the number one thing that became evident was that even though they were taken, that quite frustrated me a little bit, because I kept coming up with a name and I did searches on it and it was taken. But one thing that actually I started relying on was my gut feel. So even though I had so many names that I thought I wanted, it was all about having that gut feel. And then I had to rely on what my vision was, or the voice of the business and what that would become, and how that name or the name of the business would marry together. So that was the other component that I had to place into how I created the name NGANI. I started also thinking about making it simple. I didn't want a long name. I didn't want a name that was complicated. I also then started looking at what was important for my brand. And it was important to actually have an all-Australian feel. So then I went into looking at the Aboriginal side of things, which was their language and some of the words that I started to become familiar with. I then started looking at words that again match the vision of my brand, which is how the word NGANI came about. Now, NGANI means on me. And when I found that word, I thought, oh, this is incredible. I mean, on me is about I'm responsible for what I do. I'm responsible for my courage. I'm responsible for how I feel. I'm responsible for all my possibilities. I'm responsible. So a brand that basically says I'm able to create my vision. I absolutely love that name. So when I found that word, I thought, yep, this is it. Gut feel went into like an absolute explosion of things. It was like fireworks was happening in my brain. So that's basically the short of it, of how I came across the word NGANI. Now, some important steps that you guys need to be aware of if you are starting a business in Australia are the following. For everybody else, of course, I'm sorry, but you must do your own research in your own country. I'm not familiar with everybody's processes. But for the Australian startup entrepreneur, number one, have a look to see that the name that you come up with is available on ASIC, as well as it's got a free domain or a website. So you're able to register your business name as a website/domain. You will also need to do a patent and a trademark search. This is really, really important. So just keep an eye out for that. For businesses, of course, in Australia, that if you are creating a domain with a .com.au, you actually need to have an ABN. So you need to register your business first with ASIC and then go and register your domain name. If you haven't got an ABN, you can't have a .com.au after your domain. Now, once you have registered, or once you've come up with the business name, please be mindful to register them ASAP. There is so many people out there that are registering names, and you just don't want to get caught to have your business registered with ASIC and then your domain name is different. At least not from my perspective. I really wanted to have everything simple and succinct and merge really well. So if you've come up with a name, give yourself that opportunity to do all your searches, patent, domain names and trademark names, and like that you'll be able to get all of the registrations really quickly and easily. Okay, so to expand on how I actually chose my business name, I'm going to take you guys through a little bit more details, which I'm hoping is going to give you a lot more information if you are wanting to start up for your own journey, process, ideas, etc., etc. Okay, the number one criteria really that's I've cemented, I have actually built into my knowing is this, that while my business is small, my brand is actually big. And I know that this sounds a little bit, airy-fairy, but the thing is that if you start anything with the ideology that I'm nothing and I'm small, you're actually not going to give yourself the best foot forward. So whilst I am an incredibly small business, I actually don't see myself as being small. I see myself having an incredibly huge brand, and that's an important ideology for me because it means that I continually move in the direction that's going to fulfill that vision. Okay, so that's really, really important. Now, in terms of the brand, I started talking to you guys before about having a voice, or your brand, your business that you're starting actually having a voice. So for me, it was important that there was a voice that spoke about courage, and that's really to empower people. Okay, that was really, really important for me. It was also important that words like bright, quality, luxury, queen, color was part of my brand, and that's when I of course merged my artworks with silk. So that was really, really important as well. Ethically manufactured, I found, was another aspect or another point of the brand that was important. So I connected with manufacturers in Australia that had that perspective already. So that was really important. And of course, my other aspect of this is that it had to be 100% Australian. I know that I could have gone overseas and started this process with a far more cheaper foundation, but I just think there's enough things produced overseas and not enough things produced in Australia. So for me, I guess I'm taking that chance of creating something that is 100% Australian and launching into the marketplace with that step forward. So yeah, that was another important aspect for me. Now, in terms of narrowing down a business name, again, I'm going to give you guys a short list, which I think you'll appreciate. Avoid using acronyms. You know, acronyms are just short-lived and they won't have a good, powerful energy behind them. Have a clear communication when it comes to your business. Okay, don't overcomplicate it. Steer clear or stay away from similar sounding business names. This is really, really important. I don't need to take you guys through examples, but I'm sure you can figure it out what sounds similar, what doesn't sound similar. Of course, at the same time, don't be afraid to be unique. You don't want to go down the path of sounding totally strange, but you also want to take that perspective and say, well, I really don't want to sound similar like everybody else. So don't be afraid to stand out. Stay away from your own name. This is really, really important. For the reason that I started saying just a couple of minutes ago, that my business is small, but my brand is big. Let's say fast forward a couple of years from now and somebody wants to buy your business. Can you imagine if my name was now for sale? So I wanted to avoid that, which is why I did not want to use my name in the business, okay? You might want to, of course, that's totally up to you. And don't be too specific either when you create a business name. For example, Droopy Curtains Incorporated. If you want to expand at a later date and you want to include other products in your business, you're kind of limited to just Droopy Curtains. So that's another thing. Don't be too specific. And at the same time, don't be too generic. So yeah, there's a lot of points to consider when you're actually creating your brand and your company, but I'm hoping that these points will give you a little bit more information as to what you need to be aware of. Now, the questions that I asked myself when I was creating my brand was all about what benefit will my product offer? Benefit. And the minute I started thinking about the benefit that a product offers, I started thinking about products that absolutely made my heart sing, made my mind go into meltdown, and I started exploring that perspective. So, for me personally, every scarf tells a story, and I mean every scarf tells a story. I mean, I have a lot of scarves, as you saw from my previous video, and every single one I've had an adventure with. I can tell you about where I got them, how I got them, when I wore them, how I wore them, what happened. I can recall events that are absolutely magical, you know. So in that respect, what's the benefit of what I'm creating? Well, it tells a story, and stories allow us to expand, and stories create beautiful, beautiful images in our minds, which add to the quality of how we live. Now, why is that good? So, for me, wearing a scarf is really an adventure, and that has just been, it's part of my makeup, truly. Whether you're a motorbike enthusiast, whether you're sitting out lunching, no matter what you're doing, adventures call forth to uncover our abilities, our capabilities. And so why is that good? Well, we learn from adventures. We find out our strength through our capabilities. And why is knowing about our capabilities good? Well, capabilities are really necessary qualities to take us through the most challenging things in our life. And when I started then uncovering that, I thought, wow, that's my business. This is what I want to convey. And so NGANI, courage, possibilities, and the scarf was born. So I'm hoping that I've given you guys a little bit more information around how I developed the business and the process that I went through to create the business. I find that from adventures we really do grow as people, and no matter what type of adventures we have, whether it's the type that we associate, skydiving or base jumping, or even just an adventure of being able to face our fears of sitting in a car and driving into an unknown destination, or for some people facing anxiety, we learn from that. We find out that we have the courage to move through anything that we have created as a barrier for ourselves. I thank you wholeheartedly for watching. I encourage you with all my heart to live your own authentic life, and to remember that we need to be irritated a little bit by life, because it's only in that irritation that we get rubbed and polished and we are able to shine. I thank you all for tuning in. I hope that you are empowered through my journey to create and live your own authentic life. And remember, create and be you. Become aware of how truly rare you are. 1 out of 7 billion, 1 out of 7 billion. That's you. Until next time, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.